Welcome to the NHE Plus tutorial. The New Houses and Extensions Plus programme is designed to be easy to use and intuitive. But like anything new, there are some things to learn. This tutorial movie covers all the basics and will ensure you're up and running quickly and getting the most out of your investment in no time at all. To follow the information, you will need to have installed your New Houses and Extensions Plus programme and the central library that comes with it. The central library does need to be installed independently. The NHE Plus is what you will use to prepare your quotations. It's preloaded with all of the estimating modules or work sections that you may require when pricing new works. Once you've priced the work on the pricing sheet, you can generate all of the job-winning reports. The central library is preloaded with thousands of guide prices for the materials, plant and labour. These guide prices are sourced by EasyPrice Pro on a rolling basis. Prior to starting your first proper quote, we recommend that you check these guide prices and rates to ensure they're in line with the prices that you pay. If adjustments are made to the guide prices in the central library, you must remember to update the New Houses and Extensions programme with this information. I'll show you how to do this later in the movie. OK, let's get started. The central library. To begin, I'm going to show you the central library. To open the central library, click on the EasyPrice Pro icon. If you have installed your programs, it should be on your desktop. Click on the Open Central Library option. This opens the central library folder. Now click on the central library file to open it. The central library is broken down into 3 sections. These sections hold the material prices, labour rates, and plant prices. To navigate between the sections, just click the button for the section you want to go to, like this. Each section of the central library has a drop-down menu. This contains all the subsections for the central library section you're in. To jump to a specific subsection, just click it. Understanding the layout of the items is easy. View the self-explanatory titles in each of the columns. So in the materials section, there is the description of the item, followed by the size, unit and type information. This will vary in the different subsections, but the grey column headers here, that can be found at the top of each subsection, will clarify what the details are. Next is the latest price. All prices in the central library are the direct costs. No markups or VAT are added. So if you adjust prices or add additional items, it's important to follow this format. Here is the date the price was last updated, and in this column is the name of the company that the price has come from. In some cases, a specific supplier won't be listed, and the text will confirm this. Some materials, for example aggregates, are usually sourced from a supplier who is near to the location of the job. More often than not, these suppliers will not operate on a national or regional level. So in cases such as this, EasyPrice Pro has provided an average price for the item. Setting up our central library. I mentioned that before beginning a quote, it is important to check, and if necessary, adjust the guide prices that are provided. The best way to do this is to take advantage of the central library's built-in functions. First, download the regional prices for the area of the country that you're in. Click this button. It opens a form that has a map of the UK on it. Click in the area of the map that you're based in. Now select, or deselect, the sections of the central library you want to download the regional prices for. Now, click Update Prices. For this function to work, you will need to be connected to the internet. This can take a few minutes to complete. Once the information has been downloaded, you'll get this message. Click OK. At this point, it is worth hitting Save. We'll notice that the date in the Date When Last Updated column has automatically adjusted to today's date. Another built-in function that you may want to take advantage of is the bulk adjustment feature. To access this, we click the Adjust Prices button. This opens a form. You now have the option to change the prices in your material and plant libraries by a percentage, so they're in line with what you pay. You can make percentage adjustments to items from a specific supplier, or change the entire material library by a percentage. Or you can just adjust specific subsections of the material library by a percentage. If you click this button, you can change the prices in your plant library by a percentage too. The text here provides an explanation on how to use this form. Once the form is set to your preferences, enter the percentage you want to change the selections by. If you want to do a percentage decrease, then just put the minus symbol in front of the number you're entering. Now click the Adjust Prices button. There is the option to restore the prices to the previous setting straight after an adjustment's been made. Just open the form again and click the Restore Prices button. It's important to note if the prices have been adjusted several times using the Adjust Prices button, the Restore Prices button is only able to take you back to the last set of prices. You can overtype any of the information that is in a yellow box. For example, you may want to adjust a description or latest price in this way. As skips can be so variable, we do recommend going to the Waste Disposal subsection of the Plant Library section, checking and, if necessary, adjusting the prices if they're not in line with what you pay. Let's go back to the Materials section. You'll notice that there are Add New Line and Delete Line buttons. If an item you require isn't listed, click in the subsection that it belongs to. Click the Add New Line button. A new line will be added to the section you're in. Just fill in the details to add it to your library. If there is an item you don't require, you can remove it. Click on the item and click Delete Line. It will be taken out of the central library. It's really important that when you add or remove lines, you use the buttons provided. Do not delete or insert rows in any other way. This will create problems. When you update the NHE Plus, it will not be able to read and sync with the central library successfully. Let's take a quick look at the Labour section. This section is preloaded with tradespeople, as well as the default timings for the tasks that they will be carrying out. You can adjust the cost per hour. Remember, if you have employed staff, the cost per hour must reflect the cost to your business and allow for the tax and national insurance contributions that your business will be making on their behalf. If you have subcontractors who take care of their own tax and national insurance, you enter the hourly cost that they charge you. You can change the description to individual names and add further tradespeople in the blue boxes. Here, you can view and, if required, adjust gangs. Use the yellow boxes to add the tradespeople to the gang. Below this, you can view the time allowed for the different tasks. You can change the numbers in the yellow boxes if you wish. It would be best practice to do a few test quotes before making changes to the timings, as they form the basis of the calculations on the pricing sheet. OK, let's do a quick recap on setting up the central library. Open the central library. If your machine has internet access, use the Download Regional Prices option. Remember, the preloaded prices and the regional prices should be viewed as guide prices, so check over the information. Do you want to do a bulk adjustment by a certain percentage? If you do, click the Adjust Prices button and use the form. The text explains how you can use this. Do you want to tweak specific items? Remember, you can overtype the descriptions and guide prices. If it's a yellow box, you can change it. We recommend that you go into the Plant Library section and check the skips, and that you go into the Labour Library section and check the trade rates. Do you want to add an item? Click in one of the yellow boxes of the subsection you want to add an item to. Click Add New Line. A new line is added. Fill it in. Do you want to remove an item? Click on the item you want to remove. Click the Delete Line button. When you set your central library to your preferences, hit Save. If you make changes to your central library, the information will not be available in the New Houses and Extensions Plus programme yet. You will need to tell the New Houses and Extensions Plus programme that you have made changes to the central library by using the Update button. We'll learn how to do this in the next section. So for now, our central library is saved, and we'll close it down by clicking the X in the top right-hand corner. The NHE Plus master file. What is it? We're now going to look at the New Houses and Extensions Plus programme. To open the programme, click on the red Easy Price Pro icon to access the programme's menu. Then click on the New Houses and Extensions Plus option. This opens a sub-menu. Click Start a New Quotation. When you open the programme, you're given a welcome message. We recommend reading this. When you have read it, you can tick this box and it will no longer appear when you open the programme. You will then be shown the default setting page. It will be best practice to take the time to go through this default setting page. I'm going to come back to this shortly in the setting up of your master file movie section. But first, I want to explain what the master file is, as this will ensure the purpose of the default setting sheet makes sense. So I'll click this button to skip it for now. OK, we're taken to the client and job details page, and I'm going to explain what the master file is. Every quotation that you produce will be based on the settings in your master file. The simplest way to think about the master file is that it's like a jig or a template. When we open the NHE, we will be in our master file. The name of it will always be NHE Plus, followed by the version number. You can see the name of the file here at the top. This says NHE Plus 6.1, so I know this is my master file. When you complete the client details and hit the Save and Start New Quote button, the programme will generate a carbon copy of your master file. Then it will close the master file down for you and take you to the pricing sheet of the quotation that's just been created. You will see that the file name at the top has changed to the name of the client. This is how you know that you're now in a client file and not the master file. The brilliant things about this system are you always have complete control over the settings. And if you set your master file up to your standard preferences, you won't have to make adjustments every time you generate a new quote, which will save you time. Another good thing is that you can come back into your master file at any time and make further adjustments by using the default settings sheet or by going into the actual pricing sheet or reports. Any changes that are made to the master file will only take effect on future quotations that are produced. Existing quotations that you've already created will not be affected. When a quotation has been created, you can still adjust the settings within it to meet any requirements that are specific to that job. But it would be best practice to take the time to set up your master file to your standard preferences. Then adjust it as and when required on a quote-by-quote basis. So to recap, when we open the programme, we are in our master file. We can tell it's our master file by the file name at the top. The master file is a jig or template. Every quotation that you produce will be a carbon copy of your master file. It would be best practice to set up the master file to your preferences, as this will save you time. Setting up the master file. OK, so at the moment we're on the client and details page. When doing any changes to the master file, keep in mind that whatever you save in your master file will appear in future quotations that are generated from it. So there will be certain things, for example, the client's name and address, that you don't want to put in here, as that information will vary on each job. You can set up a job reference system on the client and job details page. Click the red question mark and follow the instructions. Remember, if you're going to use this job reference system, only put letters in the top box and numbers in the bottom box. If this isn't done correctly, you will experience problems generating a new quote. You may also want to add some estimators' names. Again, click the red question mark and follow the instructions on the form. To adjust the other settings in your master file, you will need to remain in the master file. So when doing this, don't click Save and Start New Quote. Use the tabs at the top to navigate around. The first thing you may want to do is update the master file with the information you have adjusted and added to the central library. As mentioned in the previous movie section, if you do not do this, the NHE will not contain any of the changes that have been made to the central library. Of course, if you haven't actually made any changes to the central library, you can skip this step. Click Settings and click Choose Library. Now click on Central Library. This will open a window and you should be in the Central Library folder. If for any reason you're not taken here, use the left-hand bar to navigate to the Central Library folder. The file path is Computer, C Drive, Easy Price Pro, Central Library. Click on the Central Library file to open it. When the Central Library is open, you need to get it communicating with your New Houses and Extensions Plus programme, so the transfer of information from the Central Library to the NHE Plus programme can begin. To do this, click the Update button. This opens a small window. The Central Library can see that the New Houses and Extensions programme is open. See, it's listed here. You can tell it's the master file because it's called NHE Plus. Now click OK. This process can take a few minutes. Even if you've made minimal changes, every single line in the Central Library will be compared to the corresponding line in the New Houses and Extensions programme, and any changes will be transferred. When the update has been completed, you will get this message saying it's been successful. Click OK. Close the Central Library down. You'll now be taken to the NHE Plus pricing sheet. You can see that we're still in the master file as the text down the sides of the pricing sheet says master file. Now you need to save your master file to ensure the information that's been transferred from the Central Library is saved. You can also do this update process from the Central Library to individual quotes that have been created. Just follow the same process but have an individual quote open instead. Let's just do a quick recap on how to get the prices from the Central Library into the NHE Plus master file. Before you begin this process, you will need to have made the required changes to your Central Library, saved it and closed it. Click the Easy Price Pro programme menu. Click New Houses and Extensions. Click Start a New Quote. You'll be in your New Houses and Extensions Plus master file. You can tell by the file name at the top. Now navigate around the master file using the tabs at the top. Click Settings, click Choose Library, click Open Central Library. Double-click on the Central Library file to open it. Click the Update button here. Here's the master file that's going to be updated. Click OK. Wait for the successful message. Close the Central Library. Remember to hit Save in the master file. We'll now look at other ways we can set our master file to our preferences. OK, all of the estimating modules or work sections that you may require for doing new works are preloaded on the pricing sheet for you. They're laid out in the order that the work would take place. The first section is Site Setup. The site setup is preloaded with every task or item that may be required for this section of work. We can see the description here, followed by the item that will be used for this task. This item is in a yellow box. It's a drop-down menu, and we can adjust it if we want. In fact, we can adjust every single yellow box on the pricing sheet to our preferences if we wish. That way, when we generate a new quote, the pricing sheet will be set in that way. The same applies to the tradesperson who's allocated to the task. Alternatively, you may prefer to use the default settings sheet that we saw earlier. The default settings sheet contains all of the common items that you may wish to adjust. When you open the programme, the default settings sheet will appear until you've used it. But just to show you, you can access it at any time by clicking the Settings tab and selecting Default Sheet. To use the default sheet, just start at the top and work your way down. If you want to adjust one of the items, use the drop-down boxes and select your standard preferences when carrying out work. For example, if you tend to use a 3.5-ton excavator when preparing foundations, let the programme know. There's lots of helpful text that lets you know how to get the most out of this default sheet. Just work your way down each section, hitting Save when you see Save. At the bottom, hit Save for the final time. When you press the final Save button on the default sheet, it will no longer appear when you open the NHE Plus programme. But as you've seen, you can get back into this at any time if things change. The default sheet is a great place to start when fine-tuning your master file. Another area that we recommend looking at when you're setting up your master file is the written quote. use the tabs along the top. Again, you know you are still in your master file as it will say NHE Plus at the top. Click Settings and click Edit Quote. Here you can see the default text for the opening paragraph. It's best to set this to your preferences in your master file. That way you won't need to adjust it every time you generate a written quote. By default, the quote says, "Yours sincerely, Easy Bryce Pro." You can adjust this too and enter your name. I'll go back to the quote. You can opt to rewrite the quote if you want. You can add your own logo into the written quote report. Again, if you do this in your master file, it will be there every time you price a job. Click the Insert Logo button. This will open a window. Just navigate to the location on your machine where your logo is stored. It will need to be in a picture format, such as a JPEG. When you've located it, click on it. It'll come onto the written quotation and then just move it into the position you would like. It's important to note that if you're going to export your written quote to Microsoft Word when using the programme, then the logo will not export with it. You can opt to switch on or off the various features that are listed here at the top of the written quote too. I'll now go to the holiday sheet. It is worth adding any dates that your business will be closed and not carrying out any work into the holiday sheet of your master file. That way, those dates won't be allowed for in any of the work schedules. OK, when you've set up your master file to your preferences, you do need to save it. It's best practice to click Reports, click Job Details, then click Save. It's important to look after your master file, and saving it in the Job Details position will ensure that when you next open it, it's in the correct place.